let's go to the visualstudio.com. So this is a Microsoft website. You need a Microsoft credentials here, and if we see there are like Visual Studio team services. So I'm saying okay, get started for free. So you can see I already have my visualstudio.com, and this is also known as a team foundation server, but in that case you have to install team foundation server on your system. So basically there are two flavors of this: one cloud based, where you can have your account free of cost, and like you can see here, January 1 to January 31, it shows me that I can have any build between 240 minutes, and I can have a load testing free of cost from these limits. And also I have some of the repository. So basically in with this video tutorial, what we are going to do is first of all, let's see how we can use a team foundation server as a repository, and then we will see the deployment. So basically it is a combination of Git and we can say Jenkins. Indirectly I'm trying to say it's a complete application life management suite from the Microsoft, where you can use the TFS as a code repository as well as for the continuous integration as well. So first let's create a new repository here. It's very easy. I'm saying let's create a new project, and I'm saying let's say project name is YouTube demo, because that's for my YouTube video, and I'm saying demo project for YouTube video. There are some templates provided by the Microsoft. It's Agile, CMM, Scrum. Uh, Not really. It doesn't directly impact with your source code management. But let's select Scrum team. Now there are two versions of version control we can use, either Git or Team Foundation. So I'm very familiar with the Git, so I would be going with the Git, and I'm saying let's create a project. So now it is creating a project, and I have one video in the past as well saying how we can use a uh, tortoise git client basically for the git management. So in this project as well I would be doing same. So once the project is created, this is the home page. How it appears, it is saying we can, so one, like I said, that it's a complete suite for your complete software lifecycle management. You can have a task, you can assign a task to your team members, and of course you can manage a code. So I'm saying okay, first of all let's use it as a get. So this is the URL, you can see. So let's copy this URL on my clipboard. I'm going on my desktop, and let's say I want to clone this repository. So I said git clone, and for the authentication I'm saying let's load the SSH key. So basically what I did, I went to my username, and then I went to security, and in security you can load SSH key here. So I have already done that part, and here I am. Let's click on OK. Basically what it will do, it will create a blank repository here. So here I can see YouTube demo has been already created, and this is the first three files we would need, and I will explain. So this is a blank repository, nothing is here, and I am starting it with my initial code. And okay, so first this end Salesforce jar, this is nothing but the Salesforce metadata API or Salesforce migration jar. We can find it on Salesforce website. This jar file is used for the migration of the Salesforce projects. Then I have build.property and build.xml. Build.properties has all my username and password, so I'm not going to open it. Let's open build.xml. Now in build.xml, this might be very familiar with you. I'm same like I'm saying my default target is deploy. So in this I have two target, one is a deploy, one is a retrieve, sorry, one is a df14. So df14 is basically retrieving it my source code from one of the my org. This is the username password of my org server URL. And then for the deploy, whatever I can deploy my code to this org, and this is the username and the password of this org. One thing is very important and very different from what we know is how I have done this task def. So basically let's add this here as well. So what we are saying is that this is the jar file name. So this is the jar file, and I'm saying load this jar file, and its URI is this and the resource is this, and this jar file is nothing but our migration toolkit. So we would be taking help of this jar file to deploy and retrieve a code from the Salesforce. So let's create a src folder first, and in src folder I need to have a package.xml. Let's copy some package.xml I already have with me. So I'm going in src package.xml, and I can see I'm saying okay, give me, it will have all the Apex classes, Visual Force pages, trigger, lightning component, a custom object, custom tab, and all the profile, and the version of this package.xml is 36. So this is our initial code. Let's commit it. So let's commit it in the master branch itself, and I'm saying here initial commit. And now I have committed it. If I refresh it, nothing will happen because file is still on my local, so my git repository is still blank. I will go back on my system and I will say let's push, and I'm saying okay, let's push all the branches. It would be a little bit slower because I am pushing a jar file, and I think jar file itself is around 18.7 MB, so around 19 MB, so it would be a little bit slower. So let's go back on the build.xml meanwhile and see what exactly we are planning to do. So basically we will get a metadata from this org df14, and this would be the manual step. So let's say a developer is doing a coding on Eclipse or whatever the favorite browser they have, and then using Visual Studio, or sorry, Team Foundation Server TFS, we would be deploying it. So if you know about the Jenkins tool, Jenkins is used for the continuous integration. Now TFS also works as a continuous integration, but I will say it's a lot better than Jenkins. The reason is you don't have to go to the different GitHub or Bitbucket, because TFS can act as a source code management system. At the same time it can also act as a continuous integration also. So here it's still loading on, around 11 MB has been loaded. Let's go back here. So like I said, now currently we are using it as a SCM, source code management. Once the code is committed, we will see how we can use Team Foundation Server or the Visual Studio as a continuous integration tool. Let's wait. Awesome, seems it is done. Let's refresh it here. So here all the files and everything is here. If you know GitHub, if you know the Bitbucket, you would be familiar with this. Now what we will do here is let's retrieve the content from one Salesforce org. So I am running the command and name of the target is df14 basically. So basically what I'm doing, let's say one developer or the team is working on one instance, so I'm getting all the source code from that instance, and if you see the src folder is blank. So right now what it is doing is it is using ant migration toolkit to retrieve the metadata from one of the org. And the reason I'm doing here is like you might, if you are using Eclipse, you don't have to do it. So basically I would be so here you can see everything, all the contents are here. So let's assume a project where the team of developers are working on it, and we need to implement the continuous integration, saying whenever this code is committed on the Git repository or the Git, the build should automatically start. So here we see right now this src folder does not have anything other than the package.xml. So what I will do, I will go on builds. I will create one build for our new project. So I'm saying let's create a new definition, and I'm saying our, so here all the possible templates. So Visual Studio not only supports the Visual Studio project, but it also supports iPhone, Android, and anything Gradle. So we are using Ant because Salesforce provides Ant migration toolkit, and we are saying that we want to have a continuous integration, a continuous build on the YouTube demo branch, sorry, YouTube demo repository. And build.xml, we are saying it's on the root folder, so I'm not selecting any folder here, and let's create it. Now it automatically took the build.xml. Now we can specify the target, that build.xml can have a mini target. Like in my current project, my build.xml has around 50 plus targets, but for this demo purpose, our build.xml is very small and very easy. We just have a 2 target, and the best part is I have already said that if I don't specify any target, use a deploy. So deploy is a default target, so I'm not specifying anything here. I'm leaving everything as it is, and I'm saying just save it. It's saying it might be possible that your project has a multiple build path, so I'm saying this is a default build. And there are multiple way you can say which repository, which branch, and everything. I'm not interested in anything else but just a trigger. So I'm saying whenever someone check-ins in master branch, auto start the deployment. So this is the only trigger I'm configuring. So let's go back on build. So if you have worked on the Jenkins or any continuous integration tool, you would understand what I'm trying to do. So here again, if I go on build definition, it says that right now none of the build has been done. It's 0%. So here is our code. Let's assume that you have written on the code, you have written a code in the Eclipse or the web browser or anything. Now you want to commit this code on the repository. Now the repository is also Visual Studio, that is a Team Foundation server, and when we commit, this Visual Studio itself will start building it. So we don't need a separate Git repository, or we don't need a separate build server. Everything is just included in this suite. So I'm saying let's commit it. Again I'm saying code committed by Jitendra. Let's say I'm a developer 1. I'm committing every file. So let's go back on the Visual Studio. Okay, let's commit first to this. Commit means it is on my local. When I click on the push, it will go on the Git repository or TFS. Here I see I have not done anything. Build is still not started. I am pushing it. So once I push it, so as per the trigger, it says that whenever someone is checking in, build should automatically start here. So if I reload this page, okay, go on, let's, so it says that build is in progress. Microsoft also has its cloud platform, that is Azure. So basically what I guess this is running in the Azure, and it is waiting for the available free agent which can pick up this end. So build has already been started. They are initializing one agent who can pick up the end or on the Java virtual machine, and they can start building. The basically Team Foundation server or the online Visual Studio can use to build the projects on Java, .NET, Android. So here we go. Build already started, and this is the build console. You can see what it is doing. It has downloaded, and it has downloaded all the necessary libraries, and if you see, deploy has already been started. So this is our by default, and it says it failed. Okay, it says invalid username, password, or security token. That's great. At least we have seen how the build fails. So if I go back here on build summary, here I can see that success pass rate is 0% and only one build has been done, and that is also failed. So you can see the history. If we click on the bar, it will show us the information. Let's go back and see what's the error. So okay, I think I know the error. Server URL is SF, it's a production URL, and here I am saying it's a sandbox, so it's wrong. It should also be the production URL. I would go back here and let's save it. I have changed the build.xml. I would commit again, and I will say fixed build. I will say fixed Salesforce URL from sandbox to production, and let's push it to the team foundation. Now if we see, and if I refresh it, as I checked in, builds should automatically start. One build already failed, so we see number of builds 1, and it says that build is in progress. Again, it will be waiting for the agent to pick up this build. So this is the second build. Let's see. So I guess till now you understood that what exactly is a Microsoft Team Foundation server. We are not using any separate source code management system. We are using Team Foundation server for the code management as well as for the continuous integration. So here we have our console with us. Build started again. Fingers crossed. Hopefully it will go through this time. Awesome. So if you see, it picked up my deploy target. If I open here, this is the deploy target, which was the default, and it was able to successfully submit request to the Salesforce. We got ID, and if you can see, like 104 components are to be deployed. 72 components already deployed, and they are processing right now profile, and it's still in the progress. So I'm pretty much sure it will go through this time. So again, just to summarize, most important step is this one. If you go through the Ant Migration Toolkit documentation of the Salesforce, normally what they suggest is we should keep this jar file on some path, maybe int live folder or somewhere. However, as we don't have a control of cloud-based deployment system, so this is the very important line which I had a little bit struggle to find how I can include a jar file. But once you get this line, everything's exactly same. If I go back here, it says build is successful. So if I go back on my default build, you can have multiple build on the same project. So you see total builds are 250% is a success rate. One build was failed, one build succeeded. If you click on any of the build to see the logs, we can see that this is the summary, timeline, and everything here. Hopefully I would be okay, it says download log. Okay, so I see here is the exact log which we have, and you can see all the error message or the success message, whatever you are more interested.